All right, so we have successfully uploaded a transaction to Arweave using the Near wallet. And now what we need to do is kind of poll for updates so that we can show the new transaction on our feed in our public Square application. Um, so what happens now is we submit a transaction, the um, the new post form is grayed out until it's success, and we're sending an event, but we're not catching it up to the parent to let the parent know that we've posted the transaction. And when we posted the transaction, we're going to get the TX ID, and we will um, basically need to wait for new post. So and the way that we're going to do this is we get the TX ID and then we implement an exponential back off pattern to essentially wait for the new post um, without DDoSing the GraphQL gateway request. So we need to start with going to our app.js, and after the imports, adding a new function called wait for new post, and we take a transaction ID. And this function is just an imperative while loop that will actually make a call to our get post infos. And when it returns the post, it's going to check and see if our transaction ID is included in that list of posts. And then if it is, it's going to move it to the top and then return the post. So this function will allow us to check that out. And um, in order to call this function, we need to do some prompt drilling. So we need to go into the app component, and we need to add a function in our app component that's going to essentially call this function, and we'll call this a sync function wait for post for new post. No, wait for post like that, and then TXID, and then we're gonna set our flag so we can show the user that we're checking out the post, and then we're gonna get our post from our new function we created above called wait for new post and pass in the TXID. Um, Once we get those, we're going to set our post infos with the post that we've returned and set our is searching flag to false. Now that we have that in our app home component, we want to add a handler on here called on post message. And when that handler is called, we're going to call wait for post. And then in our home component implementation, we want to, on the new post component, add a handler called on post message. And we're going to call props dot on post message like that. So basically, we're passing essentially this function wait for posts, we're passing it down to the home component, which is then passing it down to the new post component. And then in the new post component, when the transaction is uploaded, we're going to call this post message, and it's going to go up and wait for the post to show with a status 200 or 202. So with all that said, let's test this out. So we'll go near is pretty cool and post it. And so now it's signing it with the wallet, and it's creating the transaction, and it's uploading the transaction to Arweave. And then once we see our spinner pop, then we're waiting for that post, and we see it pop in right there at the top. So that is really pulling the whole post transaction process together. And next, we'll work on essentially polishing some more features. So we're going to add some more protocol features to essentially get topics and users working. So we'll do that in the next section. And then we will work on deploying the whole app to Arweave.